Saran Sat Sri Akal and a very warm good evening wherever you are. Namaskar, Adab, Jai Shri Krishna and Jambusana to another one of our very creative, innovative health shows which I do every Monday 9:40 p.m. purely to target at the younger generation and make awareness of how these diseases can be reduced, or we can reduce the symptoms by lifestyle changes a lot through naturopathy. But a lot of people also get dependent on allopathy. There is nothing wrong with allopathy, but some things need to be looked at. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸੁਖ ਵੇਲੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਸ਼ੁਕਰਾਨਾ ਕਰਦਾ ਤੇ ਦੁੱਖ ਵੇਲੇ ਅਰਦਾਸ, ਪਰ ਹਰ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰੋ, ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰੋ through meditation. But it is through the pattern thought of mind through which we can actually get indulged into wrong foods. Taking you on to an amazing journey of uric acid, urea. It actually disturbed me to listen to some of the television program to say that urea is increasing, uric acid, because urea is being put in the soils of India. That is incorrect. Urea is actually used as a fertilizer or to promote the growth of the plants, but it is not. It's not for. It is not because urea is used, and that's why people have uric acid. There's shocking reports. When wrong information is filtered, people think that is the cause. A lot of it is through our diet, lifestyle patterns. Every time to see my shows, I'm bringing in a lot of information on lifestyle patterns, on the treatments I do, which are naturopathy, Ayurveda, NAS scanning. Always put my heart on NAS scanning, which is an amazing scanning program with which specific drops are given to detox and get the human body field aligned back. The blood urea is measured by the amount of uric acid in the blood samples, and uric acid is produced naturally to break down through your body cells and the food that you eat. Most of the uric acid is filtered out by the kidneys, and the process out of our body, urea is filtered and handled by the kidneys, and it comes in form of urine. When kidneys do not eliminate uric acid and the toxicity increases, or the kidneys fail to work at the same level, then there is a buildup. A buildup of mind, thought and food will also change. But in my program, I've got a wonderful guest to introduce you who is going to be my co-host for today, and we're going to create a very exciting show. Stay tuned to the whole of this 56 minutes of urea and uric acid show. Helen, welcome and a very good evening.
Good evening to you.
Our shows are run. So nice of you to come all the way from Plymouth, and this is called Charity, and we are running on time, and so did my camera, so I need to congratulate my cameraman as well, and we are running on British time, not Indian stretch time. So pattern of thought can change the way we eat and our lifestyle. Helen, did you know 2 million people suffer from gout, and 1 in 30 people have gout? It is a fact that gout was actually a disease of the kings in the 18th century because they ate a lot of red meat, rich meat. And it was known to be a rich man's disease. It is, women also suffer from it.
Wow, I knew there was a problem. I didn't know it was actually that severe.
Yeah, 10% of people actually give up work before 65 because of gout.
Because of it? Wow.
Because of gout. And what is the symptoms of gout will be the tenderness on the foot, the joint, the metatarsals, and the toe is the common issue that people have. And to put a normal shoe, or if they're working in a site, to wear heavy steel toe shoe is very, very painful. A bunion is different to gout, so let's not mistake the two.
Okay.
And indulgent lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of that going on, isn't there?
Yeah, too much red meat, too much processed meat, too much organ meat, too much pork and sausages and doner kebabs and all these meats. Actually, the body is an amazing filter system, isn't it? What we eat, we process, we assimilate, and we excrete. But in the assimilation process, if something's not absorbed, the body is going to go a little bit too overloaded with that toxin. It is those toxins that cause the body to get into a disease mode.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we're seeing it more and more now, aren't we? Because of the amount of different types of food that are now available. It's like all the fast food.
Yes.
I do find a lot of people live on a sort of instant society now. We don't want to wait for it. We want it now.
Yes.
And all of the fast food restaurants that are available, and you go in there, you put your order, and then 2 minutes later it's delivered to you.
Temptation corners.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now there's called a home delivery, some sites, we won't name them. So Hungry Horse, Hungry Horse and all those things. In other words, a kitchen is now becoming a history of the past for the youngsters. I think the youngsters have become a grazing society, eating too many meals, but because the food is dead and is demineralized, there's no nutrition, it's cooked on high heat, they're not satisfied. Eating on the go is not right. Sitting and eating and chewing is a great process where the mind is going to process your eaten food.
Yeah, absolutely.
But eating in the car, whatever it is, a bun or a burger or crisps and cakes and biscuits, white flour is the biggest killer. And what do you think about sugar?
Oh, don't get me started.
There's no end to sugar.
Oh, goodness, no. There's this.
We brought up children. But let's go back to why is uric acid more common in men and not in women? There is obviously a reason on the biological level, is that when the woman has her monthly cycle, her estrogen hormone is released during that cycle, and that helps to reduce the woman's uric acid, while men don't have the estrogen level, they have more testosterone, and this is estrogen with the O. So we have estrogen and progesterone levels during our cycle time.
Yes.
And that helps us to evacuate or release. But it's come a point where women I'm getting who have bunion, which is different, but who also have urea and uric acid. And they just say it in the traditional ways that my urea has increased. That's just a way of them saying it. But they haven't. Elimination and food diet. I mean, I love, through scanning, we've done a lot. As an alternative practitioner, I look at mind, body and spirit. I look at the psychosomatic symptoms of why that person is grazing into that diet, what has caused them to go into the bad food pattern. And when you look at their sitting posture, their talking posture, and see what's harboring inside on the cellular level, mental level, what is blocking, unblock that with NAS. I love NAS. You love NAS.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it?
Isn't it?
You actually
it's 18 and a half years I've been doing NAS.
I know you have. You'll think
I was the very first one.
The first NAS practitioner in the UK, yeah.
Yeah, the first practitioner who started NAS, but I embraced it so quickly. I thought, that's it. I was craving to look for something in the industry that would give me the cause and an antidote. It's great to get food allergies test done and come back with 40 allergies. What do? You maybe eliminate that food for about 20 days, 30 days, 1 month, and then you go back to it, but you haven't desensitized the electromagnetic field of that body not to be reacting to that food, and this is where NAS comes in.
That's absolutely
What do you
right.
have to say about NAS scanning?
Well, I find, I get people coming to me who say, I can't eat this, I can't eat this, and it's what I find when we start to detox the body.
Yeah.
Because it's often it's an overload of toxicity, whether it's emotional toxicity, whether it's environmental toxicity, whether it comes from food. What we're doing, I'm finding it when we're detoxing people from the overload, the body can start to work at a more holistic level.
Yes.
And they can start to introduce foods that they thought they could never eat again.
Yes.
So I do find it also changes people's thought pattern, because why they become dependent on a particular type of food
for a reason in the mind, a lock up in the mind.
Absolutely, and it's a vicious cycle, isn't it? You get people who get caught on lots of sugar, lots of bad fats in their food, lots of carbohydrates, bad carbohydrates, and it becomes a cycle, and then they crave more and more and more, and then they get they start to feel sluggish, and then that it has a knock-on effect on how they feel about themselves, and then they're on that sort of downward spiral, and then they need more of that type of food to make them feel good, and it's actually a
trap.
It is an absolute trap, and the addiction to food is actually just as bad as addiction to drugs such as cocaine and heroin.
So true, because they did a test on mice, and the mice who were addicted to cocaine, they introduced the sugar. Guess what happened? The mice got addicted to the sugar and left the cocaine out. And that's how white sugar is so detrimentally damaging. Sugar actually, which came from the Fiji Islands, they took Indian slaves to to work in sugarcane farms, and then the first sugar production actually started in India, where they actually started to crystallize they made the syrup from the sugarcane, and then they started to purify the brown sugar to white, and that's become damaging. Yes, brown sugar or what we use, very dark brown sugar in some baking products, or agave syrup or manuka honey are fine in moderation.
Yes, yeah.
What we are talking about is anything we do that is an overload, the body cannot cope.
No, it can't cope with it, can't it? You know, I mean, it's interesting. I was driving up here this morning, and
all the way from Plymouth, folks.
Poole.
I really,
Poole.
Oh, all the way from Poole, which is a wee bit.
It's a little bit further north.
Yes, about 20 miles.
Yeah.
So I got to credit you first for timekeeping. That's so good. I'm very humbly touched for your attendance, so prompt, and your dedicated time.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I was driving here this morning, and I did stop at the service station on the way up, and I didn't realise, I'd forgotten it was the Easter holidays still, and there was lots and lots of families coming in, and the amount of parents who with their children going, oh, this is at 9:30 in the morning. Can we have McDonald's?
Yes.
I'm thinking, it's 9:30 in the morning, and these children are craving or asking for
dead food. Yeah, it's absolutely
Incredible.
dead food. I noticed in China as well, way back 25 years ago, 27 years ago, when I went with my children, and we happened to stop in these places where the amenities, toilet facilities are cleaner. And Chinese people who have migrated massively into Vancouver and made another little village, and wherever they are in their village, countries, they seem to cluster together.
Yeah.
And in that area, there was such a huge amount of Chinese people that at 7:30 in the morning, they were eating this stuff. Well, these are the people who would have vegetables, 4 handfuls, and a small handful of noodles. That's Chinese food. But they've now accustomed to these foods, which have changed their taste buds, and it's bringing in so many diseases. Once a while, having a naughty food, your body can cope with the BS.
Yeah.
But subjecting your body every day to these rich foods that we were talking about, that in the 18th century, urea and uric acid and gout swelling was now common with the kings. Any disease, if you look at diabetes, Helen, you look at blood pressure, you look at cholesterol, and you look at urea and uric acid, these are diseases of the rich. Not rich in monetary value, rich in rich food.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Food can be simple, and undercooked food should be better.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's, do you think it's that people are not, I mean, we've already talked about, that we live in a society where people want food instantly. Do you think it's because people are not educated?
No, I think they're becoming, obliviously blind to what's happening. I think children are educated, but the industry is trying, something very simple I'll tell you. In Punjab, in Ludhiana, they are now 4 American donor companies have come there, because they know Ludhiana is the people of elite and rich entrepreneurs, and they can damn well spend money on donuts.
Yeah.
And the sugar in the donut and the fat that is fried in, the whole thing is cholesterol, dangerous for the heart, dangerous for the blood sugar. And this is leading on to serious problems. We are also going to do chat shows with Helen, talking about world foods, and we are talking about skinny mini diets, and we're talking about the sugar load. There is a serious problem, but I think it's knowing and trying not to know and trying to hide these things. You and I know there's sugar in a drink. Kids know there's sugar in these drinks. Kids read things, but I don't know, they accustom their taste buds so much that their body craves for it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, when I was growing up, I mean, sugar was, that type of sugar was very limited. Now it's everywhere.
My first crisp I tasted at the age of 12.
Oh, wow.
And that was homemade, folks. The crisps were made at home, and that was with the purest oil, which Mom chose the best potatoes, and it was the first one we ever tasted. Wow. And these days, children as young as maybe 2-3 months, the mothers are just pushing some little orange MSG flavored crisps and soft kind of flavors of potato bakes and in their mouths. And children, I'm treating children with thrush. Leave aside uric acid, urea. I'm treating children with penile thrush, vaginal thrush, candida, and all these things are built up of too much of acids in your body, of urea, uric acids, and the thrush is obviously dependent, loves the yeast, the baking products, it loves the soda bicarbonate, it loves sugar, and children coming with the hives, mouth rash, eczema, psoriasis, serious problems. But urea and uric acid was not a big story first in India. It seriously is now a real big problem. So let's move on to, the general problems that too much urea in India is now, a problem due to also tea. Tea is a big problem. During the time when the budget was going to go ahead, did you, I don't know if that was approved, the budget was going to bring in tax on sugared drinks and sugared stuff.
Yes, I had heard that actually in the news.
I would love that to be endorsed.
Has it not been endorsed? I think they...
And I would love that. I don't know what happened. I was out of the country on the day of the budget. I'd love that to be endorsed. That tax should be put on. There's tax on cigarettes. People will still carry on. People know tobacco has got 64 dangerous chemicals, the most carcinogenic food that actually is damaging your good cells and actually distorting your RNA and DNA to the point that we are accustoming, building up. And that goes for passive smoking. You can walk all over the streets, and what's the most littered stuff you'll see is cigarette butts.
Cigarette
So in spite of knowing it's bad, people will still carry on. Have we become a society which are blind to things, and we've just taken life as a bargain? So when the disease hits, they'll say, oh my God, it's happened. Oh, I'm so unlucky. We've been given this beautiful structure. I simply say we are the caretakers of this body. If we think twice, do I need to miss breakfast and rush to work and go to a croissant, or should I have a good vegetable juice with power shake or something? What would be your choice?
My choice would be the latter choice, to have the juice before I actually leave the house, and actually have something nutritious at home before I actually leave, because the temptation, if you miss breakfast, which a lot of people do, and it's like we grab a coffee, we grab a donut or a croissant, and that'll be fine, and it's like we do it that one day, and then we do it again the second day, and then before we know it, it's become a habit.
It's a pattern. Never to have breakfast at home. Coffee. I think Britain has become a coffee country now.
Oh, goodness,
tea is being reduced.
And
what was I'm always listening to Reuters news and all the British television news reports and morning breakfast. It's always on in the background. I always like to listen what's happening. So they approached the coffee companies, the very big ones, we won't name them, to reduce the syrups and the different flavors they're adding to coffees.
Oh, yes, I know. I heard about that.
It accounted to 9 teaspoons in one glass. And what did these companies reply, Helen? They said it's going to take them 5 years to slowly accustom the British taste to reducing the sugar. They can't do it overnight because people will find coffee bitter. Yes, coffee as one glass as a black coffee has good properties because it's great for the heart and blood thinning. But when we are adding in the syrups and the milks and the dry milk powders, and now you're getting instant cups. So you get a cup which is ready mixed. All you do is pop it open.
I've seen them in the supermarket.
It has become a world of people. Children are earning good. They are educating well. There's no doubt about it. But they're certainly getting quite blind to good food and home-cooked food. And where does the problem come in? Is it because mothers are not cooking? I think our mothers did certainly cook. If we did have the odd thing, was once in 2 months we had an ice cream in about 8 miles into the city. That was the biggest treat our dad used to give us. And now that same ice cream is super loaded with sugar. It was so beautiful, and it was made from good cow's milk. So let's move on to, what are the dangers of foods, and why we've already ascertained that women don't tend to be having too much buildup of urea, but men do for these reasons of the dangers of foods is saturated fats and trans fats, sugar and alcohol. All these things come in, and all these affect your triglycerides, and that is the one that clogs your arteries, increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes. So bad high fructose corn syrup, we can carry on talking about sweeteners and replacement syrups, soft drinks, processed, all these things that are raising our triglycerides are the high protein foods. And then people are thinking, oh, we'll go on a weight loss diet. And now if you look at the weight loss diets, somehow they are also fad diets that we're going to be talking in our talk shows as well, which are bluffing people. what do you think about, yes, red meat in moderation has its benefits, but I mean, we in this world, we have wonderful vegetables, so many colors. God has blessed us.
It's amazing.
Every vegetable has an antioxidant. Every vegetable has a property. But does it have to be cooked, or does it have to be the way children are eating now is just super? Even if they're ordering a Chinese, it has been cooked on high heat with dangerous oils, which says those oils that they are ordering at the back of the stores, if you see behind a restaurant of a Chinese, have got no label. They'll be probably called burnt palm oil, folks, or it'll be refined oil.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then they are cooking the vegetables on massive heat. Most of the vegetables are third grade, which are almost been rejected by the market, but by glazing them, you get the color back.
Yeah.
And that's becoming a serious problem. Obviously, alcohol interferes with everything. Elimination of uric and urea acid, the kidneys are going to be loaded, the blood is going to be loaded. So simple carbs, obviously, there are problems. There's Pauline biscuits flooded in Southall. Guess what? There are 5 packets for £1, and they add literally the ingredient is burnt palm oil. The rejected palm oil, which is seriously carcinogenic, is what people use for eating their morning breakfast. Is a normal traditional breakfast of dipping a rusk or a biscuit in a well-brewed tea. And teas have become a serious problem because it's acid, it doesn't alkaline. Now, when you do NAS and I do NAS, as a practitioner, I also do aquapunching, it gives us amazing results to detox the body, does it not?
Absolutely. I've just recently been doing some courses in London with the College of Naturopathic Medicine, and it's a lot of the latest buzzwords seem to be talking about pre-toxing. So getting the body ready for a detox.
Yes.
So actually by starting to eliminate too much red meat, cutting down, actually getting people to do more vegetarian days.
Yes.
We're bringing sort of vegetarian options in. So cutting back on that type of acid, coming off caffeine. So actually, initially reducing the caffeine. So actually, kind of taking the body into taking the body into sort of a more softer approach for the first couple of weeks. Make sure that the liver and the kidneys are ready to start an actual detox. And you see people coming in and just doing it, pre-tox for a couple of weeks. And really making a note of what they're writing, write down what they're actually eating, and seriously assessing it, and then making better food choices. And you see a difference straight away.
Yeah, it's psychosomatically getting the mind to gear up. It's not a sudden shock. I think awareness. My program is awareness with the gracious service of Helen, coming all the way from Poole. I'm so happy to have her in my health show. I'll be taking into the second half, and we're going to wrap up to all the bad foods, but also always talk about the good foods. Mind over matter. A person can trigger. You can, with the process of thought, you can actually eliminate many diseases. Let's become in control of the food in the food industry, and not let the food industry dictate our taste buds. Stay on this note. Grab a glass of water while we do after this little sweet break.